Now it was beginning to look like a success story. By the end of 1938, the turnover had climbed from £552 in 1932 to £350,000. New jobs were created, and with them, new opportunities. The division's strength was 248. Key men advanced higher up in the company, but as sales increased, so the capital investment went up to the £1 million mark. Plant at Fort Dunlop for the motor industry, plant at Manchester for mattresses and cinema seating. Storage tanks at the ports, plus other ancillary equipment. The Malayan side of the picture also called for more capital expenditure, as new plant was installed to keep pace with the ever-increasing shipments of latex which were needed. Yet another problem which had been tackled in Malaya was the tremendous wastage in shipping space in transporting such large quantities of latex, because latex in its natural form contains 66% water. To get rid of as much water as possible called for complicated and expensive equipment. Only an organization with the financial resources of Dunlop could have contemplated embarking on such a project. But ultimately, this centrifuging plant was to make all the difference between the uneconomic and the economic manufacture of Dunlop pillow. We could now transport the latex, transform it into Dunlop pillow, market it at a price the customer could pay, and show a profit. Yes, by 1938, the division was proud to show a profit. A small profit, but it needed much more than that for its development plans. Equipment was going into operation at Toronto in Canada, Buffalo in the United States. Another British enterprise had spread to the New World. In Australia, France, a new industry had been created out of small beginnings. And then came 1939. With war, the manufacture of Dunlop pillow had to cease. But Dunlop pillow played its part anonymously. In Spitfires, protecting petrol tanks against bullets with its self-sealing qualities, padding for frogmen and parachutists, equipment for divers and so on. Vitally important at the time, but on a very small scale. Then from across the world came greater disaster. The Japanese occupied Malaya and tried to operate our latex factories, but without success. Then, after 6 long years, the war was over. The invaders departed, but they left behind them chaos and ruin. Plantations were overgrown and factories were wrecked. What was to be our plan of action? How soon could we get the plantations into production? How long would it take to replace the damaged equipment? What capital would be needed? In post-war conditions, could we make Dunlop pillow at a price that would sell? In Britain, the Dunlop pillow section of our Manchester factory had been burnt out during the war, and most important, the skilled team were dispersed on other work. And then in 1946, the board, having weighed up all the facts, said, up to £1 million investment. Go ahead. It was decided to concentrate all production of Dunlop pillow at Walton, Liverpool. New plant, machinery, latex storage tanks, here and in Malaya, had to be provided. Here in the Gladstone dock, we already had facilities for receiving and storing latex. At the same time, we were giving Malaya a greatly increased outlet for their rubber, the rubber upon which the prosperity of Southeast Asia primarily depends. The rubber that earns more dollars each year than almost any other British export. The extent to which the production of latex has grown since the war is shown in this diagram. A great part of the increase is due to latex foam. And so today's organization took shape, comprising 1,884 men and women in all grades in the United Kingdom. We had to start from scratch at Walton, and as a result of our pre-war experience, we decided that our processes must be designed to stimulate a spirit of craftsmanship in our workers. This was done by making the operator responsible for both frothing and moulding, so that he had an interest in the quality of the finished product. This principle has been observed ever since, even in the more recent mechanized processes. What we don't know about cushioning the human body isn't worth knowing. I think our backroom boys have done more work in this field than anywhere else in the world. We're out to make everyone really comfortable. In the early days, one of our chaps even went so far as to sit in plaster of Paris in this chair and leave his shape to posterity. As we grew and grew, Walton couldn't cope with all the orders. So he opened a new factory and created new jobs at Herwine in South Wales. This is one of the most up-to-date plants in the world. Here, as well as at Walton, we are rapidly introducing the latest mechanized techniques using the new group unit system, which allows for the most economical production of the large variety of shapes, pillows, cushions, seat moldings and sheeting, required in our business today. At the same time, manufacture was increasing, or was being planned, at Dunlop overseas factories in Ireland, South Africa, Canada, India, New Zealand, Australia, France, Germany, and the United States of America. But peace in Malaya was short-lived. The source of our vital raw material was again endangered, this time by bandits. Our estates of over 80,000 acres, the largest privately owned area of rubber plantations in the Commonwealth, had to be protected. We have had to spend nearly £500,000 on emergency measures. We have purchased 63 armored cars, supplied our own machine guns, miles and miles of barbed wire, and set up our own radio. The inevitable outcome of the trouble in Malaya was a rise in the cost of latex. And, of course, the war in Korea caused the price of rubber to mount steeply. In fact, between mid-1948 and March 1951, the price rose from 1 shilling to 6 shillings per pound. Were all our hopes of Dunlop pillow becoming the standard cushion for every home and in every car doomed to failure? Would the company cancel or reduce its plan of development? Undismayed, the company decided to run the risk and proceed with the full scheme for greater production, confident that rapid improvement in techniques and equipment, our management experience, and our financial resources would prove us right. And they did. After a pause, volume rose again, and once again came success. Dunlop pillow began to sell itself on a grand scale, both at home and abroad. Now today, success has bred a challenge. As the Dunlop patents neared their end, this British development has been picked up and exploited by competitors all over the world. In America, they have gone in for their own great mass market with mechanized techniques and have joined battle with us in export markets. In Europe too, the Swedes, Germans, Belgians, French, and Italians are all making foam products. But we in Dunlop have the skill, the ideas, the resources, and a flying start. The race is on, and the best team will win. Before we leave Dunlop pillow, let us see where we have reached today. This diagram shows how, with the use of capital, we have been able to send the worldwide turnover up and up over the years. And let us pay tribute to the few originators and the many now engaged on it in Britain and abroad. But let us remember that Dunlop pillow was founded on the success of the tire and other divisions. They trained the men and saved the money in the early days. It was they who helped to make possible this new enterprise.
that was just one example of many in our company. Look around and you can see the same things happening in all divisions today. Ideas turned into new products, new methods adopted, new materials applied, new problems solved. Since the war, some 80% of our group's earnings, £40 million, has stayed in the business at home and abroad to enable the company to modernize, to expand, to improve our methods and working conditions, and to grasp the opportunities which the technical and research staff create. This process must go on, even in times of stiff competition. It can go on so long as we save today. These savings should give us the price of enterprise tomorrow.